I'm Hamish and I'm going to take you through some of the software that we used in the creation of our coursework. We used a few effects to create the atmosphere of a gloomy sort of film noir kind of film that we were going for. And the effects we used were, let's see if I can find them, gamma correction, put that on, I'll show you what it does, and the sepia. If I just turn them on, that works. We had them set to varying amounts depending on the kind of shot that we wanted to get. So yeah. Another effect that we created in the film was the disappearing and reappearing of the main character, which is Mia right here. And we did that by just taking the shot and just sort of randomly chopping it into pieces. Then we actually, let me do that on a smaller scale. Then we would copy the shots that we had and layer them on top of the other shots that we just copied, but slightly out of sync. So we slightly offset it, and then we would just play with the levels so it would create the sort of reappearing and disappearing act that you saw Mia do in the actual film. You can play with how much she disappears and how much she reappears and everything. So that's one of the effects that we used throughout. We also used an effect called Bad TV, which I'll show you on here. Which one's Bad TV? There it is. Which if we put on the shot, there it is. Which if we put on the shot, after you render it, we'll have the sort of buzzy effects like that we used in our coursework. The other main effect that we used was Solarize, which is here, which was to create the weird sort of effects that we used with the electric sound. To get the sounds for our film, we tried to record some of them, and that didn't really work, so we ended up just using the stock sounds from iMovie and transporting them in. We just did that by taking the sound, say an alarm, and dragging it onto the desktop. And we close iMovie and drag it into our browser, or whatever you call that, and just drag and drop it into the film, and we'd have our sounds. The other program that we used was LiveType, which I'll show you here, which we used to create the credits for our film, and you have the option of doing some crazy over-the-top stuff, but we wanted a more subtle approach, so we just typed out the credits and then imported them in, and you can play with the colour and everything. For our final credit, the actual title, we used one of the effects, which I'm showing you some examples of here. Then we just dragged the file, saved the file even, onto the desktop, and again just dragged and dropped it into Final Cut. So there we have credit, which just happened to be my name.